welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a full drugstore, I guess you can call it like a summer makeup look. I really want to incorporate more summer drugstore related stuff, so I decided to bring you guys this video today with me using nothing but drugstore products. The only thing that wasn't drugstore was of course the eyeshadow primer, but I feel like that's just because me personally, I've been using this primer for such a long time that I can't really get away from this primer, but it is the MAC one. But other than that, everything in here is drugstore. So yeah, if you guys want to see how I got this look and how I did it, then please keep watching. First, we're going to start off with the eyeshadow first, just because we are going to be using some eyeshadows today. So I'm going to be taking my soft ochre paint pot. This is actually a brand new one of my soft ochre, because my other one I was just, you know, using it for a while and it was like completely out. And I don't really wear eyeshadow like every single day, but it still lasts me for a very long time. Like this thing will last me, I think, like a whole year. I'm just going to take some of my powder and I'm just going to set my eye area wherever we applied the eyeshadow primer, just because I really want to make sure that whenever we're blending shades, it doesn't like stick. And I feel like this is the most important part when it comes to blending the shadows. And a lot of people tell me, like, you know, I put a good eyeshadow primer on and everything, but I just feel like I can't blend it to look as seamless. And I feel like this is such an important step, and also it just helps give a little bit more coverage and just evens out the eyes. So I don't know if you guys can see like the difference here, but it just, you know, really sets the eye, make sure that, you know, you don't see any unevenness. For eyeshadow, I decided to go for the Carly Bible palette, just because this one is such a good palette, and I feel like I haven't really used this a lot in my collection, but I always like bringing this out whenever I want like a really soft, pretty look. And this palette actually has really good eyeshadows in here, and as well as highlighting shades. This one is actually one of my favorites. I actually like using that for eyeshadow sometimes, but her shadows are like so pretty. By the way, this is the first one, not the second one she's created. I haven't gotten a chance to get my hands on the second one yet, but this one is still really pretty. Kind of like this mauvey taupey brown color, and I'm going to take that on my Morphe M504 brush. This is just a huge blending brush. This is one of my favorites. I just feel like it really just blends out all the shadows really pretty. So I'm just going to take this and go right into the socket of the crease, and then once I mainly have all the product there, I'm going to go ahead and blend towards the brow. And I'm kind of doing this in circular motions just to help blend. Build up that color so that when we place down actual like crease colors, it just helps blend and it looks dark enough to where you can see it instead of it just like being nothing. So whenever sometimes you might apply like an actual crease color, if you just have like just your crease color, that's when it can start to look kind of messy and not as blended and like diffused out. So that's why I really like to make sure that the transition shade is really noticeable before we even start adding on other shades. I'm going to take this color right here, which is kind of more of a pink mauve color, so the difference in these is definitely different. This one's more brown and taupey, and this one is definitely more mauve, so I'm going to be taking that one. The only thing with this palette is it doesn't have names, so I'm sorry I'm not like actually saying the names, but hopefully you guys can, you know, go along with this tutorial and get the gist of what color I'm using. To take that color on the same brush that we started off with, and I'm going to put this the same exact way that we did the other color. This is just going to help give more of a pinker undertone to the eye instead of it being so taupey. And this is one of my favorite brushes. Morphe has one exactly like this, which is called the M433 brush, so they look very similar. These are some of my favorite crease brushes. These are what's gonna actually put the color into the crease. So you can use the MAC one, the Morphe one, honestly it's the same thing. The Morphe one is obviously cheaper, so I'm going to be using the Morphe one today. To be taking this darker mauve shade, which is this one right here, and I'm going to just take that very carefully because these are very pigmented, especially the darker colors. And I'm mainly going to start off on this outer corner right here and then blend into the crease. I'm going to just build this color up into the crease. That way it gives us definition there. off with, and you always want to take the same brush that you started off with, because I feel like that's what really helps blend all the colors together. And I'm just going over all the shades and just blending them together. And then for the lid color, I'm going to be taking this color right here, which is a pretty coppery golden color. I really like this color. It's one of my favorite colors in the palette. And I'm going to take this on a more fluffy, I would call this like a fluffy like crease brush, but the reason why I'm taking a fluffier one is because it makes it more like blended, but it's like more of a flat fluffy brush than it being like fully fluffy. And I feel like it just helps the color look better than looking like too precise or anything. It just like makes it look diffused. So I'm going to put this on the lid. The only thing about this palette is it does have a lot of fallout, so that's why I decided to do the shadow first, because if we would have done, you know, our foundation, it would have ruined it. And a lot of people ask me like, why do you do your eyeshadow first? And that's like the main reason, is because I do not want to ruin my foundation after, you know, I've done all this hard work. It's kind of like you're gonna mess up your foundation, so that's why I like to do the eyes first. What I do to wipe away all the fallout after we're done is I like to get like a towel and kind of just like rub it with some eye cream on it, because if you rub it just dry, it's gonna kind of take away that moisture, and then when you add on your concealer and stuff, it's gonna look like you didn't even apply moisturizer and your skin is gonna look very dry. So I like to take an eye cream, and also it helps get it off better. I feel like using a primer underneath your foundation will make your foundation not only better, but also it helps last. And I feel like it just makes a huge difference. Like, I don't know how some people don't use primer underneath their foundations, because I feel like it just helps so much and it just makes such a difference. So based on like what your skincare, I guess, needs would be, like if you have redness, use a redness primer. If you have more problems with pores, use a pore minimizing primer. If you just have problems with oily skin, then use, you know, of course, a mattifying primer. If you need some hydration, then use, you know, a hydrating primer. They make primers for pretty much any skin concern that you might have. I do have, you know, problems with my pores in my cheek area, so to minimize those, I like to use a pore minimizing primer. This one is, you know, one of my favorites right now, and I mentioned this in my last video, and this one is only $18 from Sephora. I feel like this one is definitely more affordable, so you can find it there, and I feel like it works, I think, better than the Benefit Professional, in my opinion. So that's why I decided to include this one in the video, because it is super affordable. And it does a really good job of pore minimizing. And I'm going to be using some of my favorite drugstore foundations. Now the reason why I'm using two, like I mentioned in my last video, is that this Maybelline one is too light, so I always like to mix in a darker shade. This one is too dark for me, so this one is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Flawless Foundation, and then this one is the Pore Mattifying foundation. And these are both really good drugstore foundations. Like, I recommend these to anybody that's looking for more of a mattifying full coverage, like flawless foundation. Like, these remind me of high-end foundations. They're so good. So I'm actually going to be mixing those two together. I'm going to use my beauty blender to blend this all out, and I feel like the beauty blender just makes a huge difference too at making your foundation not look like you're wearing foundation. Like, it just makes it look a lot smoother, a lot blended. And I don't know, I just love the beauty blender. If you guys haven't tried a beauty blender, highly recommend it. You do have to wet the sponge though. That's the only thing. People sometimes get these sponges and hate it because they don't realize that you have to wet the sponge, and you just have to like wet the sponge and like syringe out the water so that it can be kind of like squishier. And I feel like it just makes the foundation look so much better than a brush would. It just makes it look like skin, like it gives a better finish than, you know, streaks all over your face that a brush would do. From Ulta, and this is the Revolution Conceal and Define concealer. This is a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape, and this one is really good. I actually like this one a little bit better than Tarte Shape Tape, like I mentioned, because it doesn't make my under eye look so drying like the other one does. I feel like Tarte Shape Tape is a little bit too mattifying for underneath my eyes, so I get kind of dry underneath there, and it kind of just looks like, I don't know, like too much for me. especially in the summertime, so that's why I'm using this. I'm actually applying my concealer in a triangle shape motion, because if I was just to apply my foundation just like this, I would get that kind of line of where I applied my foundation. So this is just going to help blend it down so that it looks better, especially if we were to take pictures, you wouldn't get just like that little line underneath your eyes. Right after that, I like to take my Airspun powder. This is one of my favorite drugstore powders. I recommend this to anybody, any skin type that you have, especially if you have like oily skin. I swear to you guys, this will help your foundation stay on all day long and you won't get oily or anything. And it just gives like a really pretty nice finish. This powder, I want to say that there's different ones, because the one I get is the translucent extra coverage, so I feel like it just gives a little bit more coverage than the other ones. And it's like more of a lighter color, but I believe they have a deep one that's also full coverage. And I like this powder because it just sets everything really nicely and it doesn't look like too cakey or too much coverage. I also like to like get powder like this on the sponge and do it on my nose too, because I feel like that just helps my nose from getting super oily. Bronzing and contouring the skin makes such a difference as well. It just brings back color back into your face, because if I was just to leave my foundation just like this, I would look so pale and too light and one-dimensional. And I feel like whenever you add, you know, a good bronzer or a good contour to your face, it just gives back your shape. And not only does it give back your shape, it gives back your color, so you aren't gonna look one-dimensional. So I'm actually gonna be taking the Bronze Booster by Physicians Formula. It looks like this one's super old, and I know they have a different bronzer now, and I really want to try that one, but I haven't gotten my hands on it. And I'm going to be using just a bronzing brush, and I'm going to bronze the skin. And how I like to bronze is I like to take the brush and I like to take very little at a time and build it up slowly, that way you don't have like harsh lines. And I just like to take it on my cheeks, move it in like a circular motion. And then I will take it around the temples and blend it towards the cheek area. Bring it up here on my temples, just because if we were just to add, you know, the bronzing here, it would look kind of still white here, and too light. And I feel like whenever you add it and connect it all together, it just blends nicely and it looks like more natural than if you were just to put it, you know, right here. Where it can get a little bit more dramatic, I guess, is whenever you want your contour to stand out. If you bake underneath it, it will just create that definition of a line, so it'll help bring in the cheekbone shape better. So I always like to do this pretty much every single day, except for whenever I'm not going to be wearing foundation. I just wear powder. I kind of just like bronze and add blush and highlight, and that's pretty much it. But for this look, I really want to have that strong contoured look. So I take the powder just like I did with the concealer, setting the concealer and everything, and I just like to put it underneath here. And I like to kind of make like a fishy face, that way I can see where I need to do it. And so this is called baking. You're going to go ahead and leave it there. Instead of like pressing it into the skin and blending it out and stuff, you're just going to leave it there. That way could create that definition of a line. I'm going to leave it there, let it bake for a little bit. In the meantime, I like to apply my blush and my highlight. So for blush, I'm going to be taking the Frat Boy The Balm Cosmetics blush. Pretty much, I feel like any blush from the drugstore is pretty good. But these are just some of my favorites because they're super affordable. You can find them at pretty much any like drugstore, I feel like. And they're really, really pigmented. These almost remind me of the Tarte blushes. Like, they last for such a long time on the cheeks. So this is my favorite color from them. It's called Frat Boy. I used to use this all the time. It's a perfect like peachy color. And I'm going to apply that to the cheeks. And I like to blend it back because I feel like that just helps lift my cheeks. If I was to apply just blush right here, I feel like it makes my face look too round. Okay, and for highlight, I'm going to be taking the LA Girl Strobe Light Strobing Powder, and it looks like this. And this is in the shade 50 watt like this. This is one of my favorite like drugstore blushes. I believe you can actually find this at like Dollar General or something like that. I know they sell LA Girl pretty much anywhere. And I like to take this on a skinny highlighting brush, and I like to just like really get in there. This highlighter is very pigmented though, and I like to just put it on the tops of my cheeks. And this color is so pretty. It's like a champagne gold. Those are like some of my favorite highlighters to use. It's like a champagne gold because I feel like it just looks the most natural. Like, look how pigmented that is, you guys. No Fix Plus, no nothing. I don't know about you guys, but this side of my face is always harder to do highlight on. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because like the way I'm turned, the way my hand is, because I'm right-handed, or what, but I could never just like look at this side and get it like perfect. To take some of my bronzer and put it on the sides of my nose. I feel like that will just help contour. Without that, my nose looks very weird. So I just like to do this. I don't like to go too precisely contouring my nose because I feel like the more I contour it, the like weirder it looks, because I do have like a long nose, but my nose is kind of like fatter here, so I don't like to like put too much on there. And then I'm going to take my highlighting brush and then apply highlighter like right down the center, so it makes it look just like longer and not like as fat down here. And then I like to take it right on the tip of the nose. I feel like it just gives like a glowy look, so that's why I like to apply it there. I'm gonna take this color, this taupey brown, and then this lighter pinkish mauve color that we used on our crease, and I'm going to take this on a small Makeup Geek brush, and I'm going to just like blend this underneath here just to give us some color there because I don't want to look too top heavy. Okay, and then after that I'm going to apply my favorite drugstore mascara. If you guys haven't tried this, you need it in your life. I swear it will change your life. If you like more of a separated lash and not so like clumpy, you would definitely like this mascara. It's been in my collection for such a long time. I've repurchased this so many times, and it's just such a good mascara. And I feel like whenever you're not going to be wearing lashes, this is a pretty good mascara to wear on its own. However, today I am going to apply some lashes. These are actually from Amazon, which I will try to find and link down below, but you can just type in like 3D mink lashes, and honestly, you guys, getting lashes on Amazon is so much cheaper than actually purchasing them from bigger brands. Like even velour lashes are a little bit cheaper on there, and they have like better bundles on Amazon, and it's Prime, so you get it within 2 days. From Amazon, I believe this whole entire pack was like $1.50, and they're 3D mink lashes. Like these look like super expensive lashes, and I actually get a lot of compliments whenever I wear these. I'm actually going to be using my favorite drugstore glue as well. You can find this at Walmart, pretty much any drugstore as well. So this is the Kiss Strip Lash Adhesive with aloe. It says it's latex free and all that stuff, so if you have really sensitive eyes, I feel like this is a good glue for your lash. The biggest tip I can give you guys is don't apply the lash right after you put the glue on, because it's not gonna stick to your eye. So wait about, I want to say like 20 to 30 seconds, at least like a minute, and apply the actual lash once the glue has gotten a little bit tacky. So another thing you can kind of do is just like blow on the lash so that it dries a little bit quicker. So how you can tell if it's getting tacky is you can just like try to apply it to your lash, and if you can feel it like getting tacky and sticking, then obviously the glue is ready to go. But if it's still like sliding around, then just set it to the side for a little bit and let the glue dry just a little bit more. The other thing you have to kind of like just play with once you start getting the hang of applying lashes, you kind of have to make sure that your eyelashes aren't uneven. So what I always like to do is I like to take the back of my eyelash applicator. By the way, this is from xoxo. Super affordable. You can actually find this on Amazon as well for like $7. But this just helps apply the eyelash because it's like longer. You can get in there more precisely. But I like to take the back of it, and I kind of like to push the lashes up, because if one lash is like downish and then the other one's up, it could kind of make you look like your eyes like weird shaped. So I like to just make sure that, you know, it looks better. And I'm gonna go ahead and dust off this baking because we did have it on there for a long time, so it should be ready and done. So I feel like You see how it just makes it look more cleaner. It doesn't look as messy now. Colors, I think, because one of them I feel like is a little bit too dark, but I want like a nude mauve kind of color to match the eyes, so I'm going to be mixing in the lighter shade. So these are both NYX lingerie lipsticks. These are some of my favorite drugstore liquid lipsticks. I feel like sometimes they can be a little drying, but I went ahead and applied some chapstick before and let it dry a little bit on my lips. That way it hydrates the lips, and that way whenever you put these on, they're not going to be as drying. And I feel like that is another big mistake people kind of make with, you know, applying liquid lipstick. They feel like it's too drying and that's why they hate them. But I personally love liquid lipsticks because they are definitely more long lasting. I personally love the matte look because I feel like it just helps define the lips a lot more than a glossy lip does, but that's just me and my opinion. But yeah, these are the NYX lingerie liquid lipsticks. I believe these are both from the same collection as well. So I'm going to be taking Bedtime Flirt first. It's kind of more of a darker mauve, and I'm going to be mixing in Lace Detail right on top of that. You know what, instead of adding that color on top, I think I'm just going to leave it like this. I really like how it looks. I thought it was going to be too dark because in the tube it looks like dark, and I didn't want it to be like brown dark, you know what I mean? I wanted it to be mauve-y, and I feel like this is a really pretty color, especially with the eyes. So I think I'm gonna leave this color and not mess with it and not apply the lighter. So that is gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys really enjoyed. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit that bell, because that bell is gonna notify you every single time I upload a new video. And I am going to start uploading Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the same exact schedule, but I'm actually going to be uploading like in the evening time, so like more around 6 o'clock ish, because I feel like when I was uploading in the morning, like a lot of you guys are probably like either asleep or at work or at school, and you can't really watch my video, you know, whenever you're doing things in the morning. So I decided to change that time to a little bit later, and also it helps me out because I won't have to stress out about getting a video up that early. Make sure to come back to my channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but that notification bell will just help you know every single time I upload, so make sure you do hit that, and as well as the subscribe button. I think that's gonna be it for today's video. I will see you guys in my next one.